Hello, welcome to Northwest Connection Podcast. My name's Trelf.
I'm Seb.
On the podcast today, we've got a band I've been looking forward to having on. A band touching on the boundaries of alternative and prog rock, with a reputation for delivering complex layered tracks that has earned them deep respect in the local music community. Welcome, King Liar. Hi guys, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thank you.
So, there's only two of you today, but the band's a four-piece?
Yes, four of us. It's me, Adam, Lewis, and guitarist, another Adam, and our bassist, Michael.
And how did King Liar come about?
Oh, well, so there's two bits to the story, isn't there? Because there was a bit before Lewis. So,
The worst bit.
Yeah. We desperately want to get back. So me, Mike, and various other people were in a band that used to be called Breaking Point, which we started in about year 9 in secondary school, for like Battle of the Band competitions and stuff like that. We actually filled in for another Battle of the Band when they dropped out like a week before. So then we did that, and then we thought, oh, this is actually pretty fun. Should probably keep doing this. And yeah, it eventually became a 3-piece. And then you and Adam Barrett, other Adam, joined on when we met them in sixth form. I actually I overheard them playing Supermassive Black Hole by Muse in another practice room. Like I want to say like a week or two into sixth form.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I don't usually like go up and talk to people, like especially if I don't know them at all. But there was something about just the fact that I was hearing them play. Cause like Muse used to be my favourite band, and they're still like very close to my heart.
Yeah.
Hearing them play that, and then just rushing and going, "Is that Supermassive Black Hole by Muse?" Like, Muse.
He literally burst in the room. We'd never spoken to him before, and he just went Muse and just walked in. So, yeah.
And did you start out doing covers, or was that
A bit of both, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of both. I mean, we were in me, Lewis, and Barrett were in. We were all in sixth form together, and we started doing with Ed, who was a previous member, and we were all doing music BTEC, which was a lot of performing, so a lot of doing covers. So we kind of started out playing covers with each other in sixth form, I guess. But then we'd already released like a few songs, like in a very kind of rushed format, just kind of getting them out. And we kind of met you two and thought, oh yeah, we'll collect you.
What type of material are we talking then? Covers wise?
Cover. Well, I mean, so the covers that we used to play in gigs, we used to do what? Comes From a Numb. Yeah.
Broken Machine by
Broken
Nothing
Machine,
But Thieves. Many of Horror by Biffy Clyro.
25 Amazons.
Yeah, and then there was a Killers song.
There was. All these things that I've done.
Yeah,
we did them.
I hate that song. It was so boring to play.
He never voiced it. But then in Music BTEC, we kind of played loads and loads of different stuff, which was really nice because it meant that we got a chance to feel about in different genres a bit, and it definitely helped all of our confidence just in terms of performing. I mean, we always just a big shout out to Mr. Kemp, who was our music teacher. He's an absolute legend, and he did so much for us and kind of.
I don't think we have a shout out for a teacher before.
I could do another one. Thanks to Mr. Kemp in secondary school. You were an absolute legend. Yeah, but like I think growing up doing music subjects, it did help us get a bit more confident, so that then when we did leave for uni, we were thinking, actually, no, this is the kind of thing that we want to sustain, despite the fact that we're all going to different places. And yeah, it was quite weird, all going to different cities and continuing things. And I mean, quite a few of us went to uni. You were kind of you worked for a year and then went to uni. But yeah, it was quite. I guess it's a kind of testament to how much we enjoyed playing together and how much we felt we worked together as a live act. That when we left sixth form after kind of playing together for about probably like a year and a half, we thought, no, this is actually something definitely worth.
Yeah, you can feel it when you're in a band, but it's actually worth sticking around for, especially if you're very tight. To try and find other band members that will fit into that is very difficult, I suppose.
Yeah, and it is like, this is probably a cliche, but like we are all like best friends. Like it'd be strange making the music that we make with other people, just because there's not that element of like camaraderie in it. It's
I feel like we gelled very, very like early on, like pretty much instantly. Like the first kind of rehearsal we had was at one of my old houses in my bedroom, and it was like everything felt very natural, and it just flowed very well, like instantly. And I feel like a lot of other bands kind of, I find it interesting when I hear them say that we've gone through a bunch of different guitarists or drummers, and like we've never had that, have we? We've always just been. It's always it's always flowed very well for us.
How many years? Sorry, Joe. How many years is that in total then?
I mean, in this exact current formation, so we lost a member in 2019,
something like that. Yeah,
2019 actually. So in its current formation, 5 years?
Something like that, yeah.
4.5, 5 years. But then we were playing together for 7, and then I was in a band with Mike for about 10 now. So we've been playing together for a good amount of time.
And me and other Adam had been playing all the way through school as well. So it was like kind of you and Mike, and then me and Adam, and then it was like a match made in heaven in sixth form.
So were you still writing when you all went to uni? Were you still writing?
Yeah. Well, uni was a very strange experience because obviously COVID hit. We were. So I was in. I was just getting to the end of first year. You were about to start first year because we lived together for 3 years, and yeah, I mean, over COVID, I was writing a lot. During that year, we were practicing like not most weekends, but probably every other weekend, when schedules would allow. And yeah, we kind of write fairly consistently. To be honest, the biggest kind of writing lull of new songs has probably been over the last year, because we've still got quite a lot that we're kind of pushing forward with and wanting to release soon, but there's been such a focus on other things like improving the live game and all that other kind of stuff. But no, I mean, when we all left for uni, we were writing pretty consistently. We were all sending each other demos. I mean, I remember me and you setting each other challenges to like write a song in an hour.
Yeah,
we did that like
boredom in lockdown. Yeah,
that was fun. And they were all like,
still got them actually.
Yeah, still got them. To be fair, they were pretty good.
Yeah, mine wasn't, but
it was just like, I mean, just stuff over like GarageBand, but. Yeah, it definitely. We did a lot. I mean, a lot of our writing is very, very like collaborative, in that one person will usually bring most of an idea, and then we'll all flesh it out, and we all add things that the other people wouldn't have thought of. Sometimes it's literally two halves of a song that get just smashed together.
Yeah. Do you find any sticking points with that?
I mean, yeah. There's definitely bits that we like disagree on.
Do you feel like there's any like uniform sticking point with when they all come through? Is there always like one thing that always sticks out, or is it? Would you say it's quite diverse?
I don't think so. It's like it's kind of. By sticking point, I thought you meant like anything that we're like have like issues on. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean.
Is that what you mean?
So as in, would you ever find that
never,
it's like, it's always the same thing, or is it always different?
No, it's never really the same thing at all. It's always like. It's to be honest, it's never really. The one thing that I don't think we ever clash on is direction, really.
Yeah.
Like the actual place we want a song to end up, we're always pretty set on. Like it'll change and evolve and stuff like that. But like, I mean, like our last song, for example, that we released, Human Error, we started writing that in sixth form.
Yeah, we did.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
And I remember sending you a really shite demo.
Yeah, I've still got that as well. Yeah.
Me recording an acoustic, because I didn't have an electric at that point. Me recording an acoustic guitar through like a little like Apple earbud microphone, and it's just the worst thing that's ever been recorded. But like that slowly turned from like a kind of quite Folsy-esque thing into kind of a bit more of a dance song. And it's the direction of that was pretty like set. We all knew we wanted to do that.
Yeah. It's
more like the actual minutiae of stuff. It's a chord, it's a voicing, it's we get very nitty gritty with stuff, and a lot of times we'll play through something, and then we'll be like, I didn't like that one note. oh, I like that one though, and then we'll stick on it for about half an hour.
It's always 2v2 as well, so
Yeah,
that we
it's
can
always
never
2v2.
ever decide
I
on
think
it.
that's most bands though.
Yeah.
You know, we have that thing sometimes where it's like we're overcomplicating it, keep
Yeah.
it simple, and it's like sometimes you have to keep it simple, but also sometimes you have to overcomplicate it.
Yeah, and also, to be fair, the 2v2 groups always change.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice. It's not
Very
it's
true.
not two people versus two people. It's always just two people versus two people. But the groups are nice and varied, and we all get our time to battle one another.
Yeah.
So, how did you both get into music?
Do you want to go first?
Going back.
I think I started off playing the drums when I was in year 4, and I don't know how long that's been now, and I'm not going to try and work it out, but quite a few years. And it was from my dad is heavily into music, and the music that we used to listen to in the car, like kind of like Foo Fighters style stuff. I've always been into that, so he kind of set me off in the kind of rock direction. And then my mum on the way to school always used to say I'd be master of the radio in the morning, and I'd always put Paradise City by Guns N' Roses, and the bit at the start with the drums, I'd just be like that.
Yeah.
And then she got me drum lessons, and then my dad kind of showed me the guitar eventually as well, and yeah, it's just all kind of stemmed from there. I've always loved it. Music's always been my favourite lesson in school, and mainly because of Mr. Kemp. So yeah, that's kind of how it all started for me.
Main influences, drummers wise, from one drummer to another. Putting you on the spot.
Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins will always be my kind of two main ones. The Gavin Harrison from Porcupine
I love
Tree.
Gavin,
I was
Gavin
hoping you'd
Harrison.
say that.
Yeah. I haven't known, but he got me into Porcupine Tree. I haven't known them that long, but like even in our like recent stuff that we're writing now, I've tried to. You can tell that I've been listening to a lot of that. And then I'd say mainly those three. I'd like, is it Chad Smith from the Chili's? I think. Yeah. I'd say they're my main 4. I think.
Cool.
Nice selection.
Yeah. I started out. My mum and dad were always in like amateur operatic stuff, so I was never really into it at all. But there was always a lot of music like buzzing about, and like my dad was a piano tuner, and they both did loads of music. So I got shown a massive variety of stuff, and the first thing that kind of clung onto me was like video game soundtracks and like film soundtracks, and they were the things that I listened to on the way to school before I got into rock music, and that definitely still forms that kind of ambient side. Is definitely still very much ingrained in me.
Like ethereal sort of.
Yeah, it's definitely that kind of dreamy feel. It's always there. So like Koji Kondo, all the stuff from Zelda. A lot of, obviously like Howard Shore. Just all that kind of stuff. Christopher Larkin, loads of those kind of people, and Jeremy Soule. But no, then I kind of got into rock music. Kind of mainly through Muse. Again, Muse was the kind of gateway to like progressive rock and like alternative rock.
Black Holes and Revelations album.
Yeah, it was. Black Holes, Origin of Symmetry, Absolution. Those kind of 3, the Chad 3. Oh, so good. It kind of just all went from there, and then I feel like we've all. The one thing that I find interesting about all 4 of us is I feel like we all started from about the same place, like musically. Like again, I kind of like Foo Fighters, Muse, Foals, those kind of like core components, and then we've all split off in different ways, but we've all very much kept that central identity. And yeah, it's been very much the same thing for me. Like I've moved like more into like prog rock and ambient music. And stuff like that, and like main influences for me would be I started out on the piano. I started out on the piano when I was about in about year, probably similar to you, like year 3, year 4. Picked up the guitar in about like year before 6th form properly, and then kind of vocals were never a thing that I focused on really. It was always like that just kind of came along with it. because no one else wanted to do it. So I
get
kind of
that a lot as well.
I kind of just learned it on the job.
Shoved into it.
Yeah,
Microphone in front of me.
Vocalist and bassist.
Someone's got to do it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd guess guitar-wise, main influences would be like Johnny Greenwood, Alex Robert Shaw from Everything. They're my favourite band, and I love his guitar playing a lot. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the members of Radiohead, just all of their various side projects, all of their stuff.
Proper fan.
Yeah, I mean, just everything that they do. When I started to get really, really serious about music, that music kind of journeyed along with me through a lot of kind of musical development. So that's just so ingrained in me that it's always going to kind of come out in various forms. But yeah, loads of influences really.
Do you think with that background that you've got then, do you think you look into things with a lot more depth, like multi-layered? Because I can hear that within your music. It feels very layered in a way that it feels quite, I don't want to say orchestral, but it feels with like a big magnitude sort of sound.
Maybe. I mean, it's kind of there's kind of two sides to that, because there's kind of compositional density almost, and then there's production and kind of orchestration density. Like composition density, I think we definitely look at stuff in like quite granular detail. We definitely we're very, very conscious that we don't want two verses to be the same. We don't, especially like in the newer stuff, we don't want like repeating sections if they don't have to. We don't want repeating guitar lines if they don't have to. If there's a section that we really like, we're not afraid to just be like, oh, let's just do that once. Why not? Like, are we losing anything by only putting it in once instead of twice? If not, let's just throw it in once. Let's just have it be a moment that people can listen out for and then come back to.
Avant-garde in a sort of
way. Just like a bit, and then from the production side, I mean, we all do quite a lot of the production ideas and stuff, and then I tend to kind of map it all out on the actual production software, and then mix it. I know I definitely have a tendency to kind of overfill projects, and then more. In fact, there's a metaphor that Neil Gaiman, the writer, talked about writing, which I think really applies to music production as well. He said there's two types of people: there's architects and there's gardeners. And architects plan it all out wonderfully. I mean, in terms of storytelling, it's you know exactly where the end goal is going to be, and then you kind of mold it to shape, whereas gardeners start it and then just kind of go at it and throw loads and loads of ideas at it and see where it takes you, and then you kind of trim it and then you make it more into the shape that works. And I'm definitely much more of a gardener. Like, I definitely look at the song and think, I don't necessarily know exactly where it's going to go production-wise, but let's just throw loads and loads of ideas at it, and then we'll all have a big production meeting about it, and we'll be like, that doesn't need to be there. That doesn't
the
need to
clay
be
off,
there.
isn't it?
In
essence, another analogy for it is you put all of that on to then actually shape what you want from.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, God, you would not want to see like early King Lear projects, like songs early on in development, because they have like 500 tracks and they're ridiculous and they're stupid, and like it's most of it gets cut, or if it doesn't get cut, it gets lowered in volume, or things get bounced together and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of I guess those influences of they've definitely impacted how we compose stuff, but I think they've also impacted how much we think about the kind of atmosphere and ambience and tone.
It feels a themed sort of it's a theme that you guys seem to follow, you know, with Dead Monochrome, escapism, feverish. They're all very like escapist sort of ideologies, if you want to call it, really anything. And it feels like you sort of follow themes without maybe you're conscious of them. Maybe it's a subconscious thing. Are you aware of the theme?
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of the lyrics or the
the theme, even within the artwork as well.
Yeah,
much so.
Well, to be fair, I mean, the artwork is something
quite contrasting with itself.
Yeah, I mean, so Lucy, who does all of our art, is amazing. So she does a lot of synesthetic art. So we send her either the final version of a song or like a pretty close to done version of the song, and then she kind of paints what she sees because of like her synesthesia, which is just incredible, and we're always so excited to get it back, because it's like an exact.
You don't know what you're going to get back.
Exactly, but we don't want to have any influence on it, because we just want to. I mean, it makes it really easy for us, to be fair.
Yeah,
but we just send it over and we say, just do it, and then we don't want to change it. We like the authenticity of it.
It's quite different, isn't it? Quite, because a lot of artists do know what they like, what they want before.
Yeah, and especially in most bands, you want to have a quabble over, like, you've got your version of what you can see, you've got yours and the other two, and then actually what you're doing is art form within the music that's therefore been given over to someone else within their own art form to make something off it. So everyone takes away what they feel from it, as opposed to it being a push thing from 4 people going, no, but I've got this individual idea.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely still have that about other artistic elements of it and other kind of visual elements of it. But yeah, I mean, like for future projects and some past projects where we've been a bit more kind of we've more been curators over what we actually wanted on art, but we'd like that for the past kind of collection of singles, that it's got a uniform style, and the style of it is that it is ununiform. It's very contrasting, and because it's contrasting, but it's all done by one artist, and it's all the same mentality towards it. It all just kind of works. I mean, and also like just lyric wise, 100%. I mean, lyric wise, I when I sit down to write stuff, I don't often know what I'm going to write about, and it'll normally come from, like, I rarely come into a song thinking, oh, I've got some lyrics, let's write a song to it. In fact, I don't think I've ever done that.
No, I think it's always music first, isn't it?
Yeah, it's music first, and then what. I mean, I've got like loads of topics that I like writing about, I would like to write about, but it's a lot of the time listening to the music and thinking, oh, what works with this song. And especially in the case of like Escapism, for example, because that has such a progression to it. I remember talking to you about the lyrics for that song and thinking, how am I going to cram all of this into like the first half of the song? Because the second half is just instrumental. But the second half of the song, the instrumental part, works for the lyrics because it is that kind of like descent into almost like a kind of vision of the future. It's that kind. It still works with the lyrics, but
of a juxtaposition in a way.
Yeah, it's definitely a. I mean, I threw around when we were about to release it. I threw around the idea of calling it like Escapism, and then in brackets like in 2 movements or something, because it's like it's very distinctly split in half, and that's how we wrote it. The first half was a separate thing, the second half was a separate thing, and then we just kind of threw them together because they worked. Which
at what point are you writing lyrics? Is it when the instrumental part's finished, or?
Yeah, to be fair, lyrics are pretty much always last even to melody. Like, I'll fit lyrics to melody.
Right.
I won't often put melody to lyrics. I might make like small adjustments, but it's more like flourishes rather than I don't know. I like having like for some of the new songs that we're writing at the moment. I mean, me and you went away and kind of wrote some melodies for a few of the songs, and then I just go away and write lyrics to that. Because like, I mean, for me, and I'm guessing for you as well, the melody is the thing that's the most important, and then the lyrics you can absolutely tailor to that melody and make work. But I find it incredibly difficult to do it the other way around, without like chopping off syllables and making things not make any sense, which has happened before. So.
How would you describe your music to someone that hasn't heard you before?
Oh, I hate this question. I never ever know what to say.
On to the next one.
Well, because of that, I'll make him go first.
I literally don't know. Anytime anyone asks me that, I always just say, well, these are our influences, so it's somewhere in the ballpark of this.
So if you could describe it as a colour.
Oh, banging question that is.
Well, it's just got to be.
It's got to be the colour, isn't it?
Turquoise. It's got to be turquoise.
Turquoise.
That is the colour.
Turquoise.
Turquoise it is.
Turquoise it is.
And you, Adam?
Colour or how I would describe it?
Both.
I would agree with turquoise. I would stretch to lilac.
Yeah, good shout.
I don't know. Describing it to, I think I'm similar to you. I usually describe us through influences, but I think it's. I think that element of escapism always seeps through, and that element of wanting everything to have I usually could describe it as like quite atmospheric, and then also quite like atmospheric but varied in how it portrays an atmosphere, because there's a lot of like
keeps you guessing. Constantly keeps you guessing in a dreamy way.
In a
I like that, Seb.
We'll be taking that.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's my answer now every single time.
Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah. I think you've just answered your question.
50 quid. 50 quid and it's
50
yours.
quid. You think we've got 50 quid?
So, are the songs, when you're penning them, are they 10, 12-minute songs and you're cutting them back, or?
We used to, when a lot of our earlier stuff, they would be like minimum like 5 minutes, and then I think something that we always used to say that we found interesting was escapism, for example. We feel like, how long's that? Like just
4.5.
Just 4.5. There's like we
Just
think
4.5.
It's nothing. There's a rookie
Radio
with
edit.
yeah. And we feel like there's a lot going on in that song compared to like a lot of our, I mean, we have a song that we never did that was like 6 minutes and it was shocking the entire way through. It was just like the same thing repeated the entire way through. But like, yeah, it is usually like what Adam was saying before. It's like not trying to get rid of sections that repeat, and if we feel like we're repeating ourselves, then we'll try and kind of change it up. And like if there's 2 guitar lines and we're 2v2 on which one we want to use, we'll say, all right, well, let's use that one there and that one there instead. And I feel like we are conscious of trying to trim kind of the more boring stuff off to kind of make it more punchy, I think. So that is I think for me especially, that is a conscious thing that we do when we're writing.
We've definitely done it more recently as well.
Yeah.
Like
Why has there been a change?
well, because I think we've gotten more confident in fitting the ideas that we want to put into a song, like musical ideas into a song, in a shorter period of time. We definitely
sort of more concise in a way.
Yeah, more concise. We don't feel the need to like you can meander in songs, but if there's no point in meandering, then you're just gonna lose people. If there's something that we just want to convey and we want to have just this musical idea as its own thing, we definitely feel much more confident in just having it sit by itself for a moment, but then not come back. And I think certainly in the songs that I really love, I think that gives songs a lot more longevity, live and recording, because you don't get. There's one thing. Well, so me and Lewis, we always used to whenever there was an album that was coming out, we always used to sit up until like midnight and just listen to it and like put it on at exactly the same time and just kind of get our immediate reactions to it. And like I won't say the albums, but there were some albums that we listened to where we'd just be looking at each other and just go, just change. Please just change. Just do something different. Like, please, dear God. And then it doesn't. And we just go out of that song so miserable. Especially when it was a song that we started off listening to and we were like, this is cool. And then the 5th minute is like, this is the same. That's something that we don't like and puts us off music quite quickly.
I think we've also done it as well, where we've written a song and we then recorded it to see how long it's going to be, and we've expected it to be like 5 minutes, and then it's been like 3.5 or something, and then that's always like a massive win, I think, when that happens, because it feels, I think when it feels kind of longer than it is, I think that's always a good thing.
Do you feel like sometimes that as a musician the constraint can be that you feel like you're under pressure to, as in not to yourselves, but because of the way it is, it's like we have to have this within a certain time frame, that or else people are going to get bored, and when realistically that art form is that you should just create whatever you want to create, really, without taking the piss in a way.
I mean, I guess so, but I also think this is the change that you were describing is something it's been a change in what we enjoy making as well, because like I know that if we, like for example, if we same scenario, we were expecting the song to be 5 minutes, it is 5 minutes, we'd look at it thinking, not from any perspective of, oh, this needs to be shorter because radio edits and getting any form of radio play or getting on playlists and stuff like that, which again is something we're definitely more conscious on now, but we do it because it actually makes us feel like we're crafting a more concise, more well put together piece of music, especially with, again, some of the some of the newer stuff that we've been writing is kind of starting with our next single that'll be coming out hopefully very soon. It's kind of the next era of stuff, and there's a notable gap between when we wrote Human Error and when we wrote the next song that's going to be coming out. A gap of, I'd probably say, about 2 years, maybe a year and a half.
I think it's about 2, yeah.
Yeah, and you can feel it. Like, the next song is 3 minutes, and it's like jam packed full of stuff. Like, the verses are different, the choruses are like the linchpin, but things don't really repeat, and when they do repeat, they are different. And that's not. I totally get what you're saying, and I agree. It definitely. I also know a lot of bands that are much more like, this isn't how their brains work, and it isn't what they enjoy doing. It's almost lucky that we do.
It's not how my brain works, to be fair.
Yeah,
I'm always like, play it for the love of it, and obviously then like sort of what you were saying before, trim up when it feels like it needs to be trimmed up. But you look at established band from the 70s, 80s, and they didn't give a shit. Like Pink Floyd, Estranged from Guns N' Roses, that's like 9 minutes long, that song. And I absolutely love the fact that it repeats, because when it does repeat, there is slight alterations in every single time it does it. So I do think sometimes, especially through radio edits, there is a bit of a constraint these days, is like, get to the point. And it's like, but the point is what we've made it.
Oh yeah, and absolutely. And I mean, I'm the exact same. I mean, the songs that, one of my favourite songs is 23 minutes long. Like, I'm not. I like, there are definitely songs that. You'll have Porcupine Tree to answer for that. I mean, I totally agree with you. I think it's quite lucky that the music that we enjoy crafting is music, especially now, is music that is a bit more concise and a bit more dense. I mean, we're also very conscious that there are songs that just need time to breathe. Like the song that we've been playing at the moment, which will be on a future project called Lahana Noon, is about 4.5 minutes, which, like, for a lot of our songs isn't actually that long, but comparatively with the rest of the new stuff, it is the longest. And that's the song that we didn't really. I mean, we definitely thought about the structure, but it was never a case of this feels too long. It was more a case of this needs changing here. We need to add a bit of colour here. We need to add a bit of. We need to kind of rearrange sections and stuff like that. There's some ideas that just need time and need space. And I mean, yeah, there's songs that we both like that are really, really long and meandering. And if it works, it works. But I think we're quite lucky in that the songs that we're doing at the moment, it happens to pair well with that need to kind of cut things down for, I mean, social media. And
it's just what bugs me is, you know, like an out and out artist with multi facets and all that. Everyone's got their own ways in which they want to create stuff. In both wearing Red Clogs t-shirts, which I'll take.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But thinking about like the Hermit song that they've got. Oh yeah. And you know, that is a case example of like 3 artists that enjoy the song that they play, and they're not asked about the length of time. And they shouldn't be, because
neither are we.
No.
That is one of our. That is. I mean, that is our probably our favourite song by them.
Yeah, 100%.
We actually went up to Andrew before the game.
Criminally underrated.
And we just went up to him and we're just like, "You playing Hermes Lament, right? You playing Hermes Lament?" We all play Hermes Lament. Yeah. No, you're completely right. Yeah, and there should always be an element of that, and it's an element that we like. But in terms of our composing, we like kind of trimming the fat off things. We like making it dense and concise, because I think the songs, like I was saying earlier, the songs that are like that for me have that instant replay factor. Like a lot of songs, when they come out and I listen to them, if they have that element of, it's not even get to the point, because there's some songs which are you know, 4 minutes ish, and they have a massive build, and then the end of it is the thing that you wait for. But it's the fact that it's not meandering about. It's a carefully constructed build up, and a lot of that stuff which people would say is meandering, like a 9-minute song, like you were saying earlier, like there are things that change. It's the amount of things that change is entirely dependent on what you're trying to do. But so long as there are things changing and there are things building up, I think it can absolutely work, and it's something that you should take into consideration how much you're dishing out what will be the climax of the song before you get there. Do you want it to just be a massive blowout at the end?
I mean, I definitely feel that within the current sort of, you want to call it the zeitgeist, the attention span of people has gone from, being quite open to now it's incredibly short.
Yeah.
I think the average click amount of time through Instagram, it went from 21 seconds to now it's like 11. People get bored after 11 seconds now.
Crazy.
And it's just, and I think that comes down to the auditory side of it. People, visually and auditory get quite bored quite quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is really fucking
Yeah, well, I think we always, to be fair, this might be a better way to describe our music, actually. I think we've always wanted to make progressive rock music that's interesting and layered and detailed, that isn't overlong and isn't kind of... again, not that overlong is bad. I love long songs, but our goal was always to bring those influences and make them maybe not as accessible, but just make them so it's not as much of a time investment. Like, you don't have to sit there for like 23 minutes to get the full experience of a prog song. Some of them require that, and they're much more like a musical journey. But there's songs. I know there's a lot of stuff recently in kind of progressive music, which is something that I find really interesting. Is like one of my favourite albums that's been released. It wasn't overly recently, but Polygon Dwanaland by King Gizzard is a very, very long prog rock album. There's one song which is 10 minutes, which is the opener, but then the rest of the songs aren't actually that long. They're about 3.5, 4, max 5 minutes, and it's the way they all flow into each other. You can listen to them all individually, and you can absolutely do that, or you can listen to them all as this one big prog epic, and that's entirely up to you. I think it was smart for them to split it up a bit more, though, because it means that you can cater to both. You can craft like an EP or an album that is this big flowing experience, which is something that we definitely want to move into, and we're being very conscious of moving into bigger projects in the future. We want to make this big, almost like this big long song that you can listen to the entire way through, with interludes and with sound effects
sort of all
and
transitioned
ambience.
into each other.
Yeah, with no gaps, just make it completely seamless. But if you do that while not making it unlistenable to have each of the individual tracks just saved to a playlist, because that is how most people listen to music nowadays. Yeah. They'll throw it on a playlist and shuffle it.
Actually reminds me of a band from the mid 90s, late 90s. Panopticon was their album by ISIS. Have you ever
I've heard of ISIS.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
vaguely.
is literally an album. Every song's like 9-10 minutes long, and it all flows straight into each other, and it's completely instrumental apart from the odd few gruffs and but it's unbelievable. It's to listen to.
Yeah.
It all just swells into each other and just takes you loads of different places.
Yeah, and it's something that we love, but we're conscious that people don't always love, but we think we could make them love it if we give them an easier way in. I think that's probably a better way to describe us, actually. Just kind of trying to make progressive stuff while mixing in, kind of more alternative and indie stuff, a little bit more accessible, and trying to get people into odd times images and stuff like that.
So being progressive, have you found it hard to get gigs? Because you're not that indie sort of sound, and you're not that metal sound.
We've played our
bracket.
very niche.
We've played our fair. I mean, I'm guessing you'll completely agree with this. We've played our fair share of gigs where we have definitely been the odd one out.
Oh yeah,
like
100%,
tons.
yeah.
And it's not always because. Quite a lot of times it's because promoters will just put on a series of bands and not really have any consideration for genre. But even if they do, we found it quite hard to find bands that, not that we enjoy playing with, because there's a lot of bands that we enjoy playing with. It's more bands that we fit with and bring out the best in each other. And it's never really that we get to a point where we're playing with bands that are that similar to us stylistically. It's more that we cling on to bands that have a similar mentality or ethos to us. Even if that's taking them in a different direction. So, like, for example, the band, so next week we're going on tour, our first independent tour, and we're playing with a band called Garden of Humans, which quite a lot of them are our friends from back home in Leeds, and they're not overly similar to us stylistically, but they definitely have their own thing, and then we haven't seen many bands like them either, and because neither of us have seen many bands like either of us,
It makes sense.
it works. And we've definitely picked our kind of supports for that tour, for that exact reason, like the exact same mentality. Looked at bands like, so in Liverpool, get all the promo stuff out of the way. It's Friday the 15th, Saturday the 16th, and Sunday the 17th, and if you dare, of November. But in Liverpool we're playing with a band called Smulk.
Oh yeah, we've heard Smulk.
Smulk.
Yeah.
I've not seen them live, and I'm so excited to, because you've been.
I have. I knew the guitarist and singer from uni, and they again have got their own kind of different thing, but they are quite unique.
They're friends with you, Room 2.
Oh,
Yeah, they recommended we listen to Smulk.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
they are insane.
Not Perfumo is
Perfumo.
incredible.
Yeah, that's the one, isn't
like
it?
that's it's just amazing, and we've definitely picked bands that share that ethos. But yeah, I mean it's difficult to get gigs anyway. Really, I don't think the style that we've had has made it overly like a lot more difficult to get gigs. It's not been as much of a barrier, because again, it's not that we're like walking on stage and playing 3 10-minute songs. It's we definitely still have shorter songs than most bands of our style, and we still have a fair share of songs that, like Feverish is basically just a fuzzy dance track. Human Error is a slightly more intricate and mathy, but it's still got that dance element and that groove. Same with Dead Monochrome, and same with Escapism. Like it has, they're not. We really try not to alienate people, and we know that from some of the earlier songs where it was basically very jammy, and like, not that they were good jams, I'd like to clarify, they were dreadful, but that element, it can be alienating, and it can kind of make the audience, if they're not 100% invested in it, feel like they're not the people that are getting the most enjoyment out of this. And obviously the bands will enjoy playing music, like hopefully that you're the people that are going to have the most fun in the entire room. You want that. You want to be the people that are having so much fun on stage. It's not great when they can feel that, and they feel like they're missing out because you're having too much fun, just kind of noodling, and they're like, you know what, actually I could do a new section now. Actually, it'd be quite nice. Yeah.
It feels to me like there's a sort of with the way that the current music sort of sphere is at the moment, the scene, it's very indie-led. You've got your big promoters like This Feeling, and you could even say like Scruff the Neck, this sort of area. But it feels like they cater for very much like a demographic of music. It seems that we don't have like a promoter that works within the niche.
There's definitely a shortage of that, isn't there?
Yeah. Shortage of having that, right, I'm going to deal with all these bands that tend to just be put on the wayside over
on the kind of more generic bills, like not generic in a bad way, but just more common genres. I totally agree.
Indie seems to be the overarching thing that they have in the UK.
Around here.
We get so much more Americana and country coming through, and you know that, like we were talking about it a few weeks ago, there's quite a bit of a metal scene that's starting to really blossom now in Liverpool. Which I'm not sure if you guys have jumped onto that, because it's not massively far away from your style, I suppose.
We played with quite a few heavier bands, to be fair. I totally agree with you. I think it's a bit strange that, in a way, it makes sense, because it is, by the nature of it being niche, more difficult to attract a crowd. But I think if you had that,
single promoter.
So
everyone was like, "This is my niche build, and I'm gonna go watch." All of these
Just Speaking is like, for example, just as someone who goes to gigs, if you found, it'd almost be like having a promoter be just a curator of bands that you would like, which would be amazing, because you could just be like, this promoter is putting on this set of gigs. I'm going to go.
It just makes you think, because like This Feeling do that one, but is it By the Sea every year? And they had like Red Rum Club this year. The Lathams. They had quite a lot of these really big,
and they all work well together, don't they?
And it's like, but where's the ones that are for the niche?
Yeah,
because we have all that for the indie, and I get that that's but also there's a huge market over here that's being forgotten about.
Yeah, and there's a lot of the kind of other sides of it kind of get joined together. I mean, there's like Psychfest, which we'd love to play. Very, very cool. But again, that is, I mean, it's awesome, but it's that kind of, it's almost like a conglomeration of all the other ones.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, these are bands that don't really fit in the indie scene or don't fit in the metal scene, so we're just going to bring them all together for this, which is a beautiful thing, but it'd be great if you could have something that was a bit more consistent to attract a more consistent audience. Because if you had
a non-indie,
well, I believe Leaf are they've got a night on in Manchester, but I think
Grand Central.
Yeah, but I think it's so popular because all the niche bands want to play it. They struggle to get back to everyone.
Well, definitely, I definitely know that Red Clogs, they played there about a month and a half ago at Grand Central, and it's a really good location just off Oxford Road, isn't it? So, but we're talking one venue, one promoter.
Exactly.
In the
whole of the Northwest.
Exactly,
It's mental about considering the density of bands that are coming out of this area, the Northwest.
Yeah, and there's so many bands that... I mean, I see it quite a lot because I do a decent amount on the socials and kind of replying to messages and stuff, and I see a lot of bands kind of fizzling out fairly frequently. I see a lot of posts saying we're taking different directions, we have to just move on, and it is quite. Some of them have been bands that we've played with and really enjoyed playing with. It's quite heartbreaking to see. Obviously, not every band can make it. Can like get it to the point where. By make it, I mean get it to the point where you are kind of happy with how it's sitting in your life. Because clearly, if you're just happy sitting it, I mean, for example, Red Clogs. Like, I know we've spoken to them and like other people about it, and just their mentality is just they love playing music. So if that's what works for you, and you just love playing music, then that is working for you.
Yeah.
That is absolutely working for you. But a lot of people have slightly broader ambitions and slightly more ambitious ambitions, and if you can't get it to that point in a certain amount of time, especially bands that don't have that kind of like you say, that kind of with the industry with more popular genres, it's so difficult to get in the scene.
Like you said before, you see other bands remuster. You get two members from that band that were doing slightly well, and then they get to two other members. I mean, there's a case example of Standing Man. Two members used to be in Sly Diggs. They then morph with two other members from another band, and they make Standing Man. They're doing their own thing, so naturally, because they're already two established bands, they're already on that trajectory of being like, oh, we already know them within the scene. Gigs will start to flow.
Yeah. It is difficult. It's definitely difficult, and how every band navigates getting gigs and the live scene is always going to be completely different, and everyone will have a completely different experience. But just sum it up, it's difficult.
Yeah,
it just really is.
But still fun.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. It's. I mean, we've played so many incredibly fun gigs, and even coming off stage after a gig, if we feel that we've played well, and maybe not many people were there, but it was fun and we had a good time, and the rest of the bands were good. They were all like nice, supportive, and they were really good at playing. We'll enjoy it. Like, not every gig has to be this big, like, earth-shifting,
like beating.
It doesn't have to be that. You should enjoy playing. If you don't enjoy playing music, just for the point of playing music, then that's not going to last. Like, you have to enjoy, like, it's those moments of gratification where we'll play something for the first time. Like, we'll play a new song that we haven't properly played in the room yet. We'll play it together and we'll think, oh my god, that was good. Like, I'm so happy with that felt amazing. And it's those moments that if you can't get to that point, if you can't get those moments, then you're never ever going to have the motivation to push yourself to get through the parts of it that are more challenging and more time consuming and sometimes frustrating. But yeah, if we come off stage and we've played well, I mean, we're happy, really. Like,
So what's the best venue you played at?
Oh,
Cavern.
Surely
Cavern
was the most.
I'll be honest, I saw that the other week and I was so jealous.
Yeah.
Cavern was
amazing.
Very fun. That was amazing. Yeah, it was. It was kind of quite surreal.
Very surreal.
Yeah, it was weird, but
Actually, I'll tell you, we played, one of my favourites that we played was it Sound City? Is that what it was called?
the festival.
Yeah, in
Liverpool.
Yeah. Was it in your uni or very close?
It was just outside my the student building.
Yeah, well, because it was when I was at uni. One of my lecturers basically said to us all, we've got an opportunity if any of you guys want to come and play in this Sound City festival. And I was like, a festival? Yes, please. So we got that sorted. We didn't really know what to expect, and it was all a bit weird, and we were outside, and we weren't really miking anything up, and there was no one there. And we were the first on kind of outside. And then we started playing, and we only had 4 songs. It was only 20 minutes. But then like by the end of it, there was, I don't know how many. There's maybe a couple of hundred people there, which was I think even now is still one of the biggest kind of crowds we've got, and we got a really good response. And that's always been a standout, a fun one for me. I think it's quite different than just seeing all the kind of either people walk past and think, nah, that's shit, and then just walk off, or people stay in for the rest of it. So yeah, that was a fun one for me.
So it was also during that gig. I can't remember who it was, but someone that we knew in the crowd overheard 2 people saying, "Oh, is this the band?" So they were kind of walking down. Like, "Oh, is this the band you wanted to see?" Like, "Yeah, this is the band I wanted to see."
Oh,
it's like that's
that's really, really cool.
Yeah, just complete strangers. But and yeah, obviously we could like track on them on like as like Spotify stats being added to playlists and stuff, and we saw ourselves get added for like a lot of like Sound City for insert name here, which was dead cool. It was so cool to just kind of see our names pop up in things, and festivals are definitely kind of the way that we want to go. We want to go down that route, and I think everyone does.
Yeah.
Really, it's not.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
It's not a unique goal by any means, but yeah, it definitely, festivals I feel like are almost like the last bastion of that kind of go somewhere collectively and listen to music, which is so rare, and it's so pure when it happens and it works, because you're so much more receptive in that environment to, oh shit, I've never heard of these people before. Oh, they're great. Awesome. That's it. That's the entire thing you need going on in your head. You're there and you're receptive, which is amazing.
Coming back to that, what we were speaking about a minute ago, then, because it's a niche thing, do you have any sort of festivals that you always eagle eye that you think, and we need to get into that feels like it fits our style, our sound, our colour?
Yeah. Turquoise.
With
the bracelet on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're not lying.
No, not really. Actually, we tend to do quite a lot. I mean, Psychfest is definitely one we've been eyeing it for a while. I don't know about you.
We kind of just, because we've not really, apart from Sound City, we've not really played them before. We find them, like, gigs are hard to get anyway. Festivals are so, there's been a few years now where we've just kind of like found a bunch of, like, a list with all the kind of festivals that are kind of, we think, just slightly above what we can probably get to, but there's not really, we struggle to find things that are below that. So we find it really hard applying for festivals and online forms, and it's so, you have to have either a man on the inside who's going to get you a sneaky slot at the start of the festival, or you have to have some sort of fan base that because they want people, they want bands to bring people, and we're not going to be able to bring in terms of a festival, we're not going to be able to bring that many people yet. So
depending on location as well.
Well, yeah, true. So yeah, festivals we found really difficult trying to get, and we always, every single year, like festival season and applications, we always say, right, let's apply for all these and kind of work out which ones are going to be the best for us, and we do them every single time, and struggle to get a lot of luck with festivals.
Yeah,
so, I think
there was a winning formula for figuring out how you could do it, but
you just got to keep going, I think, haven't you? And eventually.
And those forms are so bad, aren't they?
Yeah, and they vary in really annoying, like, minute ways.
Yeah.
Like, you'll write this big, massive band bio, and some of them will be like, send me a big, massive band bio. I'm like, that's great. And someone will ask us 3 very specific questions, and we're like, oh, really?
Yeah. Within 100 characters.
Please tell me your entire life aspirations, please.
Biggest achievement. Biggest achievement in 100 characters. Are you joking?
Playing your festival.
Right, we're going to move on to some fun questions now.
Oh, all right.
So, if you could listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh no! Actually, no. I know this. I've been prepared.
We've talked about this.
Yeah. I feel like I've listened to so many new bands since I made the decision. I kind of forget. But mine would be Absolution by Muse.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Knew it.
I want to know Trelf's on this when we get to it.
Yeah. Mine would be probably A Fever Dream by Everything.
Knew that as well.
Either A Fever Dream or Man Alive by Everything. Just perfect albums.
Go on, Seb, you
I'm
go.
torn, because I have a really obscure, sort of like mine's very film score led.
Go for it.
So I'd probably choose like Vangelis's Blade Runner soundtrack.
Oh,
Yeah.
Such a good choice.
That is
Good
such
shout.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a good choice, but it's not the best.
Or maybe Use Your Illusion 2 then by Guns N'
Oh,
Roses.
that's quite good. It's quite good. Mine would be 10,000 Days by Tool.
good choice.
That's a great choice.
That is their best album.
Yeah.
That is.
It is the best album
It's
ever.
fantastic. Oh, that is a really good album.
Tom's laughing. What would yours be, Tom? Tom's of that genre that he probably doesn't listen to albums.
I just listen to silence.
He listens to too
Sound
much
of
music. If not that, Absentia by Porcupine Tree.
Oh,
Great choice.
Wow.
I've actually not heard.
Oh, it's
I need to
amazing.
Just
now
a
you say it.
masterpiece.
It's a
just
it's a
masterpiece.
fantastic album. That Opening with Blackest Eyes. Oh,
Prog Brothers.
oh.
Cub, Wonder Horse.
This is actually quite a good album.
Yeah,
We listened to it on the way in. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's really good. It's not proggy at all. But
Get out.
next, if you could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Can we discuss first?
Can't do it with the mic though.
I feel like ABBA would be a good time.
That'd be so good.
I feel like that'd be very fun.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
We've always said, because we don't do covers anymore, but we've always said if we're going to do a cover, it's either going to be Skyfall by Adele and make that just like even more epic than it even is now. Or
Would she still sing on it?
yeah, we're planning to. Yeah.
Like it?
Yeah.
Or Gimme Gimme a Man by ABBA, and just
Such a
see what we can do with that. I want to say ABBA because I've already said it now, haven't I? So yeah.
Never had ABBA before.
No.
I'd probably say, I think I'd say like someone like Hans Zimmer, or like just a big or like either
Should've
the
been
kind
my
of
answer.
like dramatic side like Hans Zimmer, or I mean Howard Shaw, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
or
What flavour of Howard Shaw or what flavour of of Hans Zimmer
I think-
we're talking?
I think
we're talking
the
Dune or we're talking like Lion King? There's a plethora of change here.
obviously Lion King's up. I don't know what you're trying to say there, but no, I think it's so many bands that we love have had big albums with an orchestra, and they're always the albums that we go back to and we listen to a lot. So I think the idea of collaborating with someone like that on an orchestral arrangement and then playing it in a room with an orchestra is just, that would be like best day of my life.
Yeah.
That would be incredible. So yeah, I'd definitely say I'd say someone like orchestral, I would say.
What about you, Seb?
Oh no, I need to ask me that.
Pass it around.
Oh. Do you know, it's come to mind, probably Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy. I think that would be such a cool... Because it's quite similar to the brother sound, I suppose, in a way. Maybe Phil Lynott? Yeah, if it was maybe... Yeah, do you know what? I'd be here forever. I'll just...
That's the problem, isn't it? Be there forever. So, you're going on tour.
Yes.
What's the one thing you've got to take with you when you're going on this tour? What's the one thing you can't live without?
I can't say gear right.
You can't see your guitar.
You said gear then?
Yeah.
How did my mind go straight to steroids? It was like, wait, what?
Yeah, music. Yeah.
I've got to look hench.
Yeah. For me, it'd probably be a book of some kind of fantasy book, because I'm a massive nerd. But, yeah, some Terry Pratchett I'm reading at the moment. We'll go with the Terry Pratchett book.
I don't know. I really don't know. I want to say a pillow, so I'm always comfy at night.
Define the pillow for me.
Memory foam
Don't
or...
want to get into this. I didn't revise my pillows, so I
Can I answer this? Mine would just be a 2.5 litre water bottle.
Yeah,
Always hydrated.
Yeah.
Wow. It was worth the wait that one.
The build-up was so intense.
So, going back to your own music, and you're going on tour.
Yeah.
So, how did that come about? Why did you think you needed to go on this UK tour?
I don't think it was even a case that we needed to. It was more that us and Garden of Humans have been talking about it for years, really. It was always something that we wanted to do, and we thought it would be a really nice idea to have. It was originally 4 dates. We cut it down to 3. They're a Leeds-based band. We're a kind of Manchester, but primarily Liverpool, just where we played the most band. So having them be the 3 cities, 2 of which are home cities, 1 of which is kind of a away city, but we have 2 supports, earlier door time, a bit more emphasis on promotion, like kind of compensating for that. To be honest, it's just something that I think is going to be really, really. It's going to be a really interesting experience. It's going to be a way of kind of living kind of live music that we haven't done before, because it's just. I mean, it's only 3 days and basically 2.5 really, but it's such a kind of concentrated dose of the music industry. That hopefully we'll play for new people, and we'll all get new people that like our music, but it's also a lot for the experience. I think taking that forward, and also it is quite. I mean, it's a big undertaking, planning a tour and planning a promotion campaign when you're doing it entirely independently, booking venues, booking photographers, booking supports, trying to make sure supports are paid fairly. Trying to make sure that when you pay everyone fairly, you have enough money that you're not losing money. It's been a lot of toing and froing, and I feel like it's been constantly on our mind kind of every day for about 8 months.
Yeah, I was going to ask when you started the planning.
We started the planning, I mean, the real proper planning, I think probably about February. Maybe January, February?
I think it was January, yeah.
Yeah. And then we were wanting to get it announced a bit before this, but like everything, it falls behind because there's so much to do, and it's a big undertaking. But we also think that it's something that it will not only be informative and give us a lot of experience. It's also something that people who want to work with us in the future, it's almost a testament to how much work we've done towards it. It's something that they can look on and see they've done that entirely by themselves. Even if that's not something that they're going to be doing in the future, like they're not going to be planning their own tours in the future. It's about that ethic, and it's about showing that you have the commitment to hold up your end of whatever you're doing for it, because it is such a workaholic-friendly business. You need to be a workaholic. If you're not a workaholic, then you're never going to get anywhere with it, and it's almost a proof of that.
You've not burnt out yet?
We've not
working.
I've been through 3 burnouts today. But it's something that we've always been really excited for. And on a more personal level, we love all of Garden of Humans. We love them all as people. We love playing with them. The supports are all really cool. We've played with some of them before. Some of them are new. A lot of them are our friends. It's going to be just a really fun time, and that's the thing we hope we get out of it as well. Hopefully it's going to be productive, and it's going to be useful to us in the long run, but also I think it is just going to be really fun.
Can I ask you then, off the back of what you were talking about that, is there anything that you could give as advice to other people that you feel like you may have left too late or wish you'd have done more of or sooner, that you can give to them to be like, don't make this mistake when you're planning your own?
I think probably having a more detailed plan of promotion. because we've had. It's all been a bit loosey-goosey in terms of promotioning. That's a new word.
Yeah.
You can have that one. I'm not keeping it. Yeah, I think having a bit more of, if we're going to post a reel about it, having the reel in the bank months before, having the exact date we're going to post it, have the exact text we're going to post with it. Like, things get in the way and things happen and things get delayed. That's just the nature of it, really. But I think starting it a lot earlier and being a bit more, rigorous with how you kind of delegate tasks to people and making sure that everyone knows exactly what they're doing at all times and everyone's working towards a goal so that it gets achieved at the right point. Because it throughout this entire thing, I don't know how you felt about it, but it's very much felt like we've been, if not on the back foot, we've been dangerously close to being on the back foot all the time.
I think one thing I wish we'd done more of is kind of regular, like, scheduled meetings with all of us. There's 8 of us in total, and I think we maybe had 1, maybe 2 since we started planning it, meetings where we've all been on it, and it's obviously difficult to find. We're all working different jobs and shifts and stuff like that, and it's difficult to find time to get us all together. But I think, like, just on the way over here, whilst I was trying to navigate the train station in here and stuff, we were on a call about talking about how we're getting everywhere and like cars and putting gear in this car and people are going in this car, and that was a bit. I feel like we should have definitely had that sorted way sooner. And I think if we had more regular, like, weekly meetings, maybe we'd definitely be more on top of stuff like that, and we wouldn't. I mean, we'll be fine. We're all gonna get there, and it's all gonna be grand. But I think we would be a lot more prepared. And I think I'd say if other people doing this, stay on top of it, like from the start. Make sure everyone knows what everyone's doing. Yeah.
It always feels like it's the 1% stuff that matters most that always get forgotten about.
Yeah.
Weirdly, with things like this.
Normal life gets in the way.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah.
So when can we expect new music from you guys?
Hopefully very soon. I'd say in the next. We've not got a definite date yet, but definitely in the next few months. Next one's going to be a single, and then we're moving on to something slightly larger that we're going to be putting quite a lot of time into, and trying to hone it into a slightly bigger project. So the next single is going to be the last one of this kind of period of King Liar, and then we're moving on to something a bit different, or at least a bit different in how we're presenting ourselves and how we're presenting the music. But yeah,
like rebrand in a way.
Yeah, I think we're kind of. It's still a lot up in the air. We're still thinking through things. We've got kind of a concrete plan of how we want to go about things. It's just the specific things that we're going to be doing that are a bit up in the air. But yeah, we definitely want to make the next project as professional as possible, and we've got a lot of people that we're very excited to work with, like videographers and other music industry people and photographers and artists. That everything's starting very slowly to fall into place for it, which is very exciting. But yeah, that's going to be next year. This year we're going to try and get the single out, and then once the single's out, we're going to go hibernate. And work on the next project.
Well, thanks for coming down. It's been great to get an insight into King Liar.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
Guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
See you later.